I've been watching the maps as the Secretary of State's office has tracked. This is the state treasurer's race, and you can see where Lynn Rogers was strong was those populous counties, Riley, Shawnee, Douglas, Johnson, Wyandotte counties, leaning his way in Crawford County. Is this an upset? Well, a few things happened in the state treasurer's race, and if you look back historically at the state treasurer's office, I was thinking back to several years ago when Dennis McKinney was appointed state treasurer to fill out that term after Lynn Jenkins was elected to Congress. Dennis McKinney had served in the state legislature. He was from the Greensburg area, got a lot of love and respect for leading the Greensburg area through the recovery from the tornado. But when push came to shove and he was up for election against Ron Estes, he was not elected state treasurer. So a little bit of that perhaps happening tonight with Lynn Rogers. He was appointed to the treasurer's office. You'll recall he was Governor Kelly's running mate for her first term 4 years ago. But state treasurer Stephen Johnson had a lot of publicity from that really close GOP primary, gained a lot of name recognition around the state simply from that primary campaign against State Treasurer Karen Tyson. Did that continue to resonate against voters as they were looking at the ballots tonight? Let's go back to that map. And like I said, you could see in the State Treasurer's office as we come back up to State Treasurer right here on the map, you can see Stephen Johnson with that wide swath of support around the state. And the maps in the races that we've been talking about, again, Attorney General, where it still remains too close to call. The blue counties, again, are where Chris Mann has had his support tonight. Riley, Lyon, Shawnee, Douglas, Johnson, Wyandotte, and Crawford. The rest of the state is red. However, those are the states, those rural areas that still have votes left to be counted. Is it enough for Kris Kobach to make up? And actually, Kris Kobach now just pulled into the lead as I've been talking. They now say the county precincts reporting here are 114 of 114 in the Attorney General's race. So that would mean currently about a 500 vote lead for Kris Kobach. That just happened right now as I was talking. A 500 vote lead for Kris Kobach. This race, folks, I don't think is going to be called tonight because we still have all those provisional ballots. And keep in mind, there are still mail ballots to come in. If they were postmarked by 7 o'clock tonight, we now have until Monday for them to come in because of the Veterans Day holiday. So we may be talking about this Attorney General's race for a few more days. So that one's going to be hanging out there. And then the other one that we're still watching tonight, this is the governor's race. This one also saying the county precincts are in, as long as I didn't click on a county. And let me come back up here and just make sure that I'm still on the statewide numbers, and I am on the statewide numbers. We have all the counties in, and governor, lieutenant governor, and this one, Laura Kelly with the lead, 50% of the vote to 47% of the vote for Derek Schmidt. Very close race, but in this one, Laura Kelly is hanging on. It's about a 30,000 vote margin lead for Laura Kelly right now. That's a pretty comfortable lead, even though it looks like only 3%. That's close, but 30,000 votes would be a lot to make up through that provisional and additional mail-in voting process. So the governor's race right there looks like Laura Kelly may be comfortable in saying she has a second term. We'll see what the campaigns say because they have yet to be talking yet tonight.
Yeah, we're just waiting. So, you know, some surprises tonight, some others that maybe not so surprising.
And there was a very strong publicity campaign pushing the yes vote on that sheriff amendment. And people were asking, well, what does voting no mean? Does that mean we don't elect our sheriffs anymore? And in full effect, the short answer is no. You would still elect your sheriff. Right. But now what this will do is make it more difficult should a county want to change that in the future. So, for example, there have been some casual discussions in Topeka and Shawnee County about merging law enforcement, much the way Riley County already does. And by the way, folks in Riley County, Manhattan, this does not change anything for you. You are grandfathered in, and your position with the unified Riley County Police Department and your director will not change because of this amendment. But if Shawnee County wanted to go ahead in the future and say we want to merge and change how we do things, now it would not be allowed because of this constitutional amendment.
And the Kansas Association of Sheriffs actually supported that amendment too.
They did.
They were pushing forward out there. So we're going to actually go off the air
into girls sports.
I want to follow up on a comment that you made in the debate we hosted last week with our sister station KWCH. You said that as Attorney General you would seek to ban ballot drop-off boxes. Why?
Because we already have a crime in Kansas, and we should take it seriously, and that is the crime of ballot harvesting. And that means you can't drop off more than 10 ballots of somebody else. So I can't. It's against the law for anyone to drop off 11 or more ballots. If you have drop boxes, though, a person can drop off hundreds of ballots and no one will know the difference because there's no one there to see who's dropping off the ballot. So if we really take seriously our law against ballot harvesting, we should get rid of the drop boxes.
Should we get rid of mailing then as well? Because who knows how many
You know,
ballots somebody's taking to the post office.
In theory, you could do that, but usually ballot harvesting doesn't occur through the mailboxes. They usually do it either the time it takes or the cost of the postage or whatever reason. You know, the cases we've seen of ballot harvesting, they usually use drop boxes. But you're right, that is an alternative, but I think it's a less useful one for the fraudsters.
Abortion laws, there are still several lawsuits pending there. Of course, we just had the vote on the constitutional amendment, the Value Them Both Amendment, a resounding no vote on that. When it comes to those regulations that we have in the books, to what extent would you go about defending or challenging on either side?
I think this is a big difference between me and my opponent. My opponent has said that he doesn't want to spend the resources of the Attorney General's office defending those existing laws we have on the subject of abortion. And my view is we have to defend those. It is the Attorney General's duty to defend them. And these are reasonable laws that the vast majority of Kansans agree with. Let me give you 3 examples. One is the law requiring a minor to have parental consent to obtain an abortion. Another is preventing late-term abortions. And the third is preventing public funding of abortions. I think the vast majority of Kansans agree those are reasonable restrictions, and they should be defended, and I will defend them.
Kris Kobach, the Republican candidate for Attorney General. A lot of issues will be at stake on the November ballot. We appreciate you coming here to discuss just a few of those. I know we've said with every candidate who's visited, we could have an extended conversation that takes up the entire half hour. So we appreciate you being here for a few minutes. Chris Mann was here about a month ago. His interview is on WIBW.com, and Mr. Kobach will be there as well. Appreciate you being here.
My pleasure.
And sharing your thoughts. Again, Maxton Prill has been through a lot in his young life, and he hasn't forgotten everyone who helped him through it. That's why Santa Max is here today with his dad, Eric Prill, to catch us up on their efforts. Welcome to both of you. Glad to have you here.
Glad to be here.
Max, how old are you now?
I am 11 years old.
Wow. It's been a long time that you've
has.
been doing this. How many years have you been performing as Santa?
8 years, actually. This is our 8th year doing this.
And what is it that you do?
Well, every year we raise money to buy toys to take to the hospital. We don't just buy toys, we also buy comfort items to make the stay at the hospital a little better.
Now, Max, you have a very personal reason that started all of this. What is your story? Why did you decide this was something you wanted to do?
Well, when I was younger, I had cancer, and it just is a stressful situation to be in, especially being in the hospital, and especially around Christmas, you don't want to be very stressed out.
How old were you when you had cancer?
I got diagnosed when I was 2 and ended treatment when I was 5.
When you were 5. So you remember a little bit of it.
Yeah.
Did you ever have to spend any holidays in the hospital?
No, but I remember one time when I thought I might have had to spend the Christmas over the hospital.
Over the holiday.
Yeah,
How sad
holidays.
did that make you?
That made me kind of worried because I love Christmas. It's my favorite time of the year.
Well, we have some pictures actually that illustrate his dad. Eric, you sent me some pictures of how long Max has been doing this. I mean, you were a little younger there, Max.
Yes, I was.
Eric, I'm going to ask your dad a question. I know you said you were doing the talking this time, but we're going to let Dad answer a question too. What has this meant to you, this journey, to see Max develop and really take this on?
Well, we started Maxton's Fight because of the kindness that people showed us when we went through our ordeal and Max went through his ordeal. And people were so nice to us and reached out and supported us in such ways that we wanted to do the same thing. And every year, you know, the toy drive was Max's idea, and he really has been the one that has spearheaded it. So we're really proud to be able to continue to support people in Northeast Kansas and in the Topeka area, but even more proud, obviously, that Max is the one that really has been, you know, driving the sleigh, so to speak.
Maybe not quite yet. You're only 11. You don't have a license to drive the sleigh yourself. What can people do right now, Max, to help you make this year's drive a success?
Well, the easiest way is to donate money to our website, maxtonsfight.org, or to our Facebook page. But if you would really like to, you can drop off a toy in one of our many locations.
And I do have a graphic that shows the locations, folks, where some of your toys are being collected. There are a lot of them, Max. How did you get all these partners?
A lot of emails.
You know the marketing side of the biz. So what are some of these locations people can drop toys in bins?
Well, you can drop off at Spin Pizza, Sport Clips. Actually, for Sport Clips, they announced today, if you bring in a toy to donate, they will for free, make your haircut an MVP, which means just getting a back massage and your hair washed.
That's a pretty good deal. That's a pretty good deal.
Other notable ones are Azura Credit Union, Blue Moose, and SCCA.
SCC offices down at Forbes Field. And then once you get all these toys collected by December 21st, you want people to either donate or bring in the toys. Then what happens after that, Max?
Well, then we'll wrap some of the gifts, and then on the 22nd, we'll take all the gifts down to the hospital, take them up to the peds floor, and donate them.
How fun is that?
It's pretty fun, especially walking around in my Santa suit.
What kind of reactions do you get?
Everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, you're so cute!"
You still do have that cute face thing going for you. But more than that, Max, what does it mean to you, and what is your message to some of the other kids that you see there as someone who's been there himself?
Well, you just got to have hope. There is some stressful stuff to it, but if you just hope and make fun out of it, like try to keep your hopes up.
Absolutely. Well, Max, you have a fantastic message. You have a very nice young man here, and I appreciate getting to see you again. And everyone, donate your toys so that Max has a lot to wrap. Do you do the wrapping?
Yeah. Well, actually, some of my mom, because I'm not the best at rapping.
Shout out to Mom for her rapping talents, and also shout out to Barryton Elementary and all your classmates there who I'm sure are watching you today. Thanks for coming in, and everyone support Maxton's Fight. Again, maxtonsfight.org is how you can do a monetary donation to support their efforts for this and for what they do all year round. Max, Eric, thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Merry
Thanks for having
Christmas,
us.
Santa. Appreciate that. From Topeka to Broadway and back, Washburn Rural alum Jeff Kready is making his mark in the theater world, and now he and his family are debuting a holiday show in his hometown. So we are so blessed to be on Jeff's Topeka tour this week. That's what I'm calling it, because you've been everywhere.
I've tried.
I mean, it's nice to see your family, but you really haven't been seeing your family.
No,
This has been.
I
What have you all
haven't.
been doing around town this week?
I've been doing as much as I can to get the word out about this concert. I'm so excited about it. The Kready Holiday Spectacular, presented by Core First Bank and Trust at the Topeka Performing Arts Center on December 23rd at 6:30 p.m. It is going to be a concert unlike anything Topeka has ever seen before. I truly believe that. So this week I've been going out to the area high schools to talk to the high school kids and invite them to perform with us, because this is going to be a community event. That's what I envision this as. It's going to be Nikki and me singing with a full symphony of musicians hired from the Topeka Symphony Orchestra. We're going to have the Shawnee Choral Society with high school kids singing with them. It is going to be all Topeka, and that's why I'm so excited about this.
You know, you thought you were going to get off cheap with your cast, but I understand that some of your cast members drove a very hard bargain.
Yes, my daughters, Lena and Louise,
Who are how old?
9 and 5 years old.
And they've been paying attention when Mom and Dad are negotiating their contracts.
That is true. That is true. We are going to have them performing with us on the concert. And my 9-year-old said, "You know, Daddy, you and Mommy get paid to do concerts sometimes, so we were thinking that we should be paid." And then they negotiated 2 Barbie dolls. It's
that's a tough deal.
It's a steep price, but it's one I'm willing to pay because I think it's worth it.
I think it's going to be very worth it. And it's so fun because you do involve your family on some of your social media sites. There have been videos of you all singing together and performing together. They're really getting in the game early.
Oh, they are. They're extremely talented, and so to be able to include the whole family in this, it's just it's going to be magical, I think.
You planned this show out yourselves. This is a debut show for you.
Yes.
You're like, well, we got to do something, so let's just make it up ourselves.
Yeah.
So I thought of some Christmas questions. I was trying to think, what can I ask you to try and get a
Oh,
little
great.
insight into how you put this show together?
I'm ready.
So, ice skating or sledding?
Sledding.
Sledding. Even
Well,
though you emceed the
I
ice skating
emceed
rink
the ice
opening
skating
last
rink,
weekend.
and I almost put on the ice skates, but I remembered the last time I tried to ice skate, I was overly ambitious, and I ended up with a bruise for 3 weeks. So sledding it is.
White Christmas or palm trees?
Ooh, white Christmas.
You gotta have the snow.
I like this weather. I'm one of the few.
Snow globes or snow angels?
Snow angels. I don't mind getting wet in that snow. I like it.
Ah, eggnog or hot chocolate?
Hot chocolate.
Hot chocolate or hot coffee?
Hot coffee. As you like hot coffee, I know
do
that.
a lot of hot coffee or hot toddy?
Ooh, hot toddy.
You gotta have a
that's
little
okay.
Christmas cheer. Musicals or plays?
Musicals. That's
Musicals,
what we do.
of course. Santa or Grinch?
Oh, wow. Santa, because Santa is going to be on our concert, as a matter of fact.
How did you score Santa? 'Cause
Yeah,
he's a very
listen,
busy man.
I know he is. He's in Noto this weekend. He's like everywhere. 2 days before Christmas, you'd think he'd be too busy, but TPAC has a lot of pull. So he is going to be there, and he's going to take pictures with anybody who wants after the show is over.